Hey everybody, Ed Casper here. We're out in the field today. It is Saturday, May 8th, and a lot of guys in Northern Illinois are done planting or darn near done. I still got some corn left to put in and some plots, but I'm not worried about it. I'm not a real big farmer, so I don't have to mash the hammer down and cross the finish line first. But everything's looking pretty good. We got some rains here in the last week that's really saved our keister because we were painfully dry. But what we're going to talk about today is flag testing, and there's still time to get out and flag test your fields. And you guys have watched my other videos. You know that I'm a big believer in if we're going to manage something, we have to be able to measure that something. And flag testing is a perfect way to do three things. We want to measure planter performance, we want to measure hybrid performance, and we want a measurement of what kind of decisions are we going to make later in the year. If we don't have good potential in May, there's no point in spending a ton of money in August on the planes and the fungicide and the foo-foo juice. So if we're going to manage something, we have to be able to measure it, and flag testing is how we do that. So before we talk about this particular flag test set, which I'm really happy and excited about, I don't want to be one of those YouTube guys that just always talks about the good stuff and farming's great and everything's wonderful and I've got new everything. So in the last week or 10 days, the sprayer blew a hydraulic hose. It didn't blow down, it blew up, and the whole sprayer was covered in oil. And it was only like 3 seconds. I still don't know how that happened. The planter blew a hydraulic hose Friday at 5:30, of course, and 4 acres left in the one custom farm I had doing soybeans. Fortunately, a neighbor has a hose making machine. Got that running. The Delta Force manifold blew that O-ring, that big nut on the side, that's that filter. Well, of course, it's a special O-ring, and you can't get anything from the warehouse. You can't just drive down there because everything's screwed up this year. So a buddy of mine in Central Illinois, he's a dealer too. He had one, so that was a 6-hour round trip on a Sunday to go get a 38-cent O-ring. The new to me tillage tractor threw some codes, and I had to take that into the dealership today to get fixed. So that's probably $3,000 or $5,000. So when things do go well, when things do go right, you want to celebrate those things. So when we started at precision planting maybe 10 or 12 years ago, we started by saying, hey, if we plant 34,000 seeds per acre, we want 34,000 plants. Because at the time, it was not unusual for someone to plant 34, and if they got 29 or 31, they're like, it's good enough. No, it's not. It's not good enough. So we started there, started talking spacing and singulation, and that evolved into, hey, if we plant 34, we want 34 ears. And then that evolved into, well, we want 34 harvestable ears. I noticed I did this. My ex-wife always did that to me to try to get me to understand better. It never worked. But harvestable ears. And then we started talking about emergence, because those beer can ears, they go through the combine, they go across the scale, but they act kind of like a weed. That's not the full potential that we're looking for. And then we talked about emergence, and they started, 72 hours, 48 hours, 12 hours of emergence. And then I got involved in the Dowdy group, the next level with Dowdy and Hula, and they talk about 12 GDUs, and that's been, to me, that's the answer. So we're going to look here real quick. This is 17 feet 5 inches, and we're planted about 37,000 here on a 113-day Bex hybrid. And I think if I counted right, we got like 34 or 35 up in 24 hours. And we are within, I did the math on it, we are within 11 GDUs. Now, this hybrid is a refuge in a bag, because you're like, well, where are the other ones? They might be up a week later. Refuge in a bag, you're going to have some duds. they'll still put on an ear, but this hybrid is such a workhorse in terms of yield. I'm willing to take a little bit of imperfection. So, and we've seen this happen before, where a plant came up on Monday and its neighbor came up on Friday, but they both put on a good harvestable ear. It's because they came up within 12 GDUs. So that's the goal. When we talk about planter performance, obviously my planter is tuned up. It's nothing real super special, but we had it tuned in. We planted in very good conditions. We've farmed this farm here for 25 years or more. This is some of the best conditions we've ever planted in. Remember, I don't farm a lot of acres, so it's easy for me to get out in great conditions. I understand when you're farming 5,000 acres, that's not so easy. You got to get out into some positions that maybe aren't perfect. I get it. As far as the hybrid, I did a saturated cold germ and a pericarp test. This hybrid tested really, really well. So I kept it. If it didn't test really well, I was going to send it back, and they knew it. So that was good. So the planter was ready, the hybrid was ready, the conditions were very good. And one thing I did this year was I took the in-furrow out of the planter, and I took those tanks and put it into a 2x2 by 0. I know you're supposed to have it 3 inches deep. Well, you know what? I can't afford all that. So I do the poor man's 2x2 by 0 out the back. We got a rain in a couple days. I ain't worried about it. The only thing that I have in furrow is a product called Sabrex, and I don't sell Sabrex. But it's a powder, it's a biological. We've tested it and it's just done phenomenal. I have yet to see a liquid product or a fertility product in furrow that helps with emergence. I haven't seen it. I have tested Sabrex and it does help with emergence. So what you see here is, this tells me we're off to a tremendous start on May 8th. That's going to help me with decisions on June 8th. Yeah, I know we need rain. I know we need heat. I get it. This ain't my first year farming. But if we get some rain, if we get some heat, the potential is here to throttle up and give her the beans, because there's some serious money out here that hopefully as we go through this season, we can try to capitalize on it. If you flag test and it's not there on May 8th, it's not there on June 8th, I promise you it is not going to be there on November 8th. The beginning is so critical to everything we're trying to do. So with that, as always, you got questions, call me, 309-208-0117. I can't always answer, but I try. If I can't, call me back. And with that, get out, get some flags, flag test, measure the performance of your planters. Summer sales events coming up, and if you're thinking speed tube, if you're thinking Delta Force, tell me why you think you have to have it. I don't run speed tube. I just don't have enough acres to justify it, for one. And I have to fix my tillage and make it smoother first. When I'm consistently planting 5.5 miles an hour and I need to go faster, then I'll buy speed tube. I'm not there yet. My tillage isn't good enough. I'm planting at 4.5, 5, 5.1. I got to fix tillage before I go to speed tube. But a lot of guys have that figured out and they are going speed tube, and it's kind of fun to watch the results. So with that, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.